Hello there and welcome in. Today I'll be covering the newest super ship in WoW's, the Tier 11 USS Jacksonville. The Jacksonville is the soon-to-be released super ship in the US tech tree light cruiser line. Jacksonville was one of the project designs as a successor to the Worcester class cruiser should the US have needed a light cruiser. Now, a lot of you are wondering how to get this ship, and I'm going to explain how. She'll be in the upcoming auction that'll be starting around 26th or 26th of July and will run over the weekend. Now, just like all the other super ship auctions there have been, the minimum bid to start is going to be 100 million credits, and there will be 1,000 that'll be won across all of the servers. Now, I'm guessing the winning bid is going to be around 250 million to 300 million credits. Will be around for the winning bid is going to be my guess, but we'll just have to see. Again, normally what I normally suggest is that just wait a few months for it to be normally available, where you can buy it for the regular 50 million credits. Unless you have billions of credits just lying around, it's not really worth gambling to get in the auction. It's better just to wait for it to come out in the regular game. But if you do want to get the ship right away and have fun trotting it around, devastating people with your amazing Dakka, then go right ahead. Before we move on to talking about what makes this ship so great, here's the build for y'all to take a look at. Now, if you're wondering why there is IFHE on the build, it is because with the in combat instruction, which increases your HE pen by 40%, it gets it up to 50 millimeters of HE pen, which can pen every deck in the game. So you'll be able to do massive damage to targets even at far distance. So it's very useful to have IFHE on this ship. Now, with all that stuff out of the way, let's get started into the meat of this video. Let's talk about the great old guns of the Jacksonville. Now, for the Jacksonville, you get 15 152 millimeter guns. They have the highest practical HE DPM of any ship in the game. You want to have a Dakka ship? This is your Dakka ship. You can open water farm with it, sit behind islands. It's got amazing guns, and this is further enhanced by her combat instruction, which can make it where you have 50 millimeters of HE pen with IFHE and the CI active. You do have a respectable range of 18.2 kilometer range, and as you can see from the shell ballistics, they're very similar to the Vallejo or the mid-tier Russian light cruisers, so pretty good. You do get a 35-degree firing angles to both the bow and the stern. Not really great considering how squishy this ship can feel at times, but overall, you have an insane damage output. It's possibly the best HE spam farming cruiser in the entire game. Every match I was doing, I was getting pretty much easily 200k almost every single match. If I had an optimal farm edge, I could easily get 300, even 400k in this ship. Just the amount of damage you put out is incredible. You are going to have an amazing time farming in this ship. It's going to be so much fun. Moving on, let's talk about this ship's concealment. Now, when you build in this ship, you get a 9.9 kilometer surface concealment with an aerial concealment of 6.9 kilometers. Now, this surface concealment is only 0.1 kilometer more than the Worcester. Pretty much, you can play this thing just like how you would with the Worcester with the concealment. It's only 0.1 kilometer different, barely noticeable. If you play the Worcester a lot, you're barely gonna notice a difference to the Jacksonville at all. Something that is also great on this ship is the anti-air, which I don't really say very often. Since we all know the Worcester has one of the best anti-airs in the game, of course the super ship after is going to have amazing anti-air as well. You have an amazing 6.9 kilometer anti-air range with ridiculous mid-range anti-air. You also get a free DFAA, so you can just increase all the damage on any CVs that come near you. It is one of the best anti-air ships in the game, alongside the Annapolis. So if a super CV comes after you or a tier 10 CV does, they'll be losing almost or all of their planes almost every single time, just due to how good the anti-air is. And I do showcase at the end of the video a match, a little bit end of a match where I did kill a CV and I just am shooting down his planes the whole time. That'll be at the end of the video, so you guys can check it out there. But yes, I love this ship's anti-air. Is what this ship is supposed to be. It lines perfectly with the looser line, so to me, this is a huge plus for this ship. Moving on from the anti-air, let's talk about the hull. The hull of this ship has 52,000 HP, which is pretty average for a tier 10 to 11 cruiser. You do get the 25mm side armor with a 30mm deck, which is very typical of a light cruiser armor. It does get the somewhat vulnerable citadel and will take butt citadels even when angled, just like the Wooster does. So if you know how to play the Wooster or you played the Wooster, then you're gonna feel like this ship is very similar to the same kind of citadels you'll get on the Wooster in this ship. Now, it does have mediocre survivability by supership standards, but it's still decent for a light cruiser. From my experience of playing this ship, I had a lot of battleships overpin this ship when closer or medium range, but at longer distances, that plunging fire can go right into that citadel and do a lot of damage. So definitely be on your toes when fighting against a lot of the bigger hitters battleships like St. Vincent's, Montana's, Vermont's, Kremlin's. All of those battleships will do a lot of damage to you, especially Yamato's as well. So definitely be on your toes in this ship. Use islands to your advantage to do some long range shooting over islands. Use those shell arcs definitely to your advantage, or use a lot of your high maneuverability to be able to dodge shells and dodge and weave. The ship does have very fast turret diverse, so you're able to pretty much have your spin just doing circles or do quick maneuvers to be able to dodge shells as you're just farming them away and getting all that precious damage. Moving on from the hull, let's talk about the ASW of this ship. You do get the same 8-kilometer airstrike ASW as the other cruisers of this line. Pretty much the same as the Wooster. You do get 8 kilometers, which is pretty nice that you don't have to deal with surface depth charges like you have to do on the Minotaur. So there's a plus for this ship. Moving on from the ASW, let's talk about this ship's maneuverability. You have an average top speed of 34 knots with a fast rudder shift of 8.5 seconds base. This, tied with the 790 meter turning radius, makes this ship have great maneuverability on paper, but in practice, you need to use your ability to make tight turns way more often than using throttle juking to dodge incoming enemy fire due to the ship's lower speed. Now, you can combine both of these, as you can be seeing in this video, to make yourself almost impossible to hit at distance, while you're still able to throw hot lead at your adversaries due to this ship's amazing turret traverse and the fact that the rear 2 turrets are 360, which makes it when you're bow into the enemy and you're turning port and starboard, you can still get all of your guns off very quickly, which makes this ship very effective when dodging and doing maneuvers. The final stat we'll be talking about from this ship, before I talk about the overall opinion of this ship, is going to be the consumables, which include the super ship combat instruction. Now, this instruction increases HE pen by 40% for 40 seconds. It takes 77 hits to be able to fully charge the instruction, and you can use it anytime you want once the bar is green, which means it is fully charged. Now, if you do not have a full charge and have not hit anything within 30 seconds, you can start to lose progress by 5% per second until it's back at 0. Something I like to do with this ship is I like using the combat instruction at long distance shooting when there's going to be a lot of plunging fire from how the shell arcs are with this ship. They're going to be doing a lot of hitting the deck and the upper plates of the ship, where that 50mm of HE pin will just eat up all of that damage and do a lot of pain to your enemies. You can also use the combat instruction when you're just flat out fighting ships at closer range, like cruisers or other battleships, just to be able to pin them all over the place to do massive damage to them anywhere with that amazing Dakka that this ship has. Talking about the rest of the ship's consumables, it's going to be included with the superintendent numbers, so all these numbers are +1 than the base. You do get a standard cruiser DCP with a standard hydro with 4 charges, with 5-kilometer ship detection, with 3.5-kilometer torpedo detection, and a 120-second active time and a 120-second cooldown. You do also get a 9-kilometer radar with 4 charges with a 40-second duration with a 120-second cooldown, same as the Wooster. Now, Jacksonville can 100 to 0 any DD that strays into her radar range during this duration. The amount of DPM that this ship has and how accurate this ship is within 9 kilometers will... There's no chance any DD will get away. If you catch a DD, it's a dead DD at that point. Now, you do get a standard DFAA with 5 charges, with a 40-second active time and a 70-second cooldown. My rule to note with DFAA is, if it's a bomber or a torpedo bomber, use DFAA on it. If it's an attack fighter from a tankier CV, like a Malta or FDR, then yes, use the DFA on it due to the higher health. But if it's like a lighter CV, like less health, you don't need DFAA for it. Save the DFAA for the higher health planes, which are normally the bombers and the torpedoes. Now, another rule to note with this is, when you have the DFA active and you've destroyed all the planes, turn off your anti-air and back on to reset the cooldown, to make the cooldown be quicker. Because if you just leave it on, it's going to have the active time going until it runs out. If you deactivate the DFA, the anti-air, and then turn it back on, it makes it where it's instantly going to go to cooldown, which allows you to get your DFA back quicker for the next air attack that'll be coming your way. Now, this ship does get improved repair party, which makes it where you have 1 extra heal. So on this ship with superintendent, you get 5 heals, which is a lot of heals for a cruiser, and it repairs 50% of the citadel damage instead of the regular 33%, which is massive. And it repairs up to 18.5% of damage instead of the normal 14. This is a massive buff over the Booster with this heal. This makes it where the ship is a lot more able to play open water than having to be an island hugging ship like the Booster. That's like the main difference between this ship and the Wooster. 1, this ship has the combat instruction, and 2, it has a way better heal. That's why in this video you see a lot of me playing a lot more open water and not relying on islands as much. Now, in some instances you will see me using islands, just because using island cover is something you should be trying to do with this ship due to how good the shell arcs are. You can pretty much shoot over any island super easily and be able to use your 18.6 kilometer range to just farm away the enemy and not let them have any chance at all. And also, it's 18.2 kilometer, not 18.6. So my bad. It's 18.2 kilometer range on these guns for this ship. This plus all the other consumables makes this ship a very strong ship in today's World of Warships meta. So going from all of that, from talking about the stats to the build and everything about the ship. So Jacksonville being America's 4th super ship, this time being the super ship version of the Wooster. What is my opinion on this ship? Well, I think this ship is insane. The Jacksonville just spits out shells like no tomorrow. Even the Yushkavov won't last for very long if the Jacksonville is farming her. if you use the IFHE plus the combat instruction, that 50 millimeter of HE pen will absolutely melt any battleship, cruiser, DD, CV. It doesn't matter what it is. This thing will melt it like butter. And for having such a ridiculous firepower, you would think this ship would be a glass cannon like the Booster or the Colbert, but no. The Jacksonville gets the improved heals and a decent HP pool for a light cruiser. Now, you still need to be careful because she gets the Ash Citadel by battleships and heavy cruisers, but if you put her in smoke or behind an island or just long distance farming and just watch your damage meter skyrocket, you will do so much damage in this ship. I was easily doing 180s through 200k matches on a bad match. On a lot of matches, I was easily doing over 300k, but unfortunately I couldn't use those for footage, so I do apologize for that. And even if CVs try to attack you, super CVs or tier 10s or 8s, they're going to, oh sorry, not 8s, tier 10s and 11 CVs, since tier 8s, you know, can't see super ships, they will lose their entire squad. They will lose planes every single time. This thing is an anti-air machine, which I love because that's what the Booster is. So seeing the super ship version of the Booster having better anti-air than the tier 10, huge plus for me. This ship overall is amazing. I'm definitely going to be bidding on this ship with credits because I want this thing first. I'm definitely going to be bidding on it. So I'm not going to tell you guys what I'm bidding for it. So good luck with you guys trying to figure that out. But if you just use the estimates that I say, then I think you'll be perfectly fine. But overall, I think the Jacksonville is a formidable ship on her own. But if you put her in a smoke division, you can farm big damage numbers like John the Ruthless does. You will farm damage insanely quick, insanely easy, and you're just going to have a hell of a time just making the enemy team suffer. So with the overall opinion of the ship out of the way and the stats and everything out of the way, let's talk about how I think this ship is going to fit into the meta. I think this ship is going to do really good in the current ranked randoms meta. I'm not sure if this ship will be used in competitive right away. Right now, one of the top ships that are going to be played in competitive right now is going to be the Conde, is pretty much the top pick. Now, I could see people trying to bring in this ship using smokes comps with this ship. That could be a really strong comp, bringing the Jacksonville in with a smoke pair like a Gearing or a Haragumo. This ship could be do really well in that way if they do bring back clan battles with super ships. So we could see potentially that in the future Jacksonville's running around that way, because that could do a huge damper on the Conde meta we've been seeing. Because with this 50 millimeter of HE pen this thing has, it'll be able to melt any push that pushes into it with that smoke. And it also has the 9-kilometer radar as well, which should be able to help it spot anything that's pushing at it. But the main disadvantage is if the enemy has 12-kilometer radars on that push, they're going to be able to outspot the Jacksonville, and the Jacksonville's going to be open pickings while it's trying to get away from that radar and be safe that way. Now, in randoms, this thing is a great solo player ship's friend. You get that radar and the sonar to be able to help you spot DDs, cruisers, battleships, anything alike, really. But the radar itself is going to be perfect for being able to get your hands on those little destroyer son of a guns and to start absolutely destroying them. Any destroyer that's caught by your radar and you're able to keep them in that radar, you're going to have such a high DPM. You're just going to melt them so fast. They're not going to be able to get out and get away. You'll be absolutely melting them. Plus, with that hydro, you're going to be able to know the torpedoes are coming pretty easily. And with this thing's high turning radius and the quick rudder shift, you're going to be able to dodge torpedoes very easily in this ship. So overall, I think this ship is a very easy ship to play. The only real downside is the fact, one, it's It's pretty big. It's a little bit bigger than the Wooster. And if you're not careful, you're going to get absolutely ripped to shreds by battleships and heavy cruisers alike. So you have to be careful in those two regards. This thing has great tools for surveillance. It has great shell arcs to be able to shoot over islands. So any map that has a lot of islands you're able to shoot over is going to be your friend. Now, maps that don't have as many islands, of course, are going to be as friendly to you, but you can still open water with this ship and shoot in bow-in battleships or cruisers at a distance and still do perfectly fine. As you saw in this video, I didn't really have that much trouble shooting at distance, so I think you all will do perfectly fine yourselves. I believe in you all. Now, in ranked, I was trying to figure out how this ship would do in ranked, but right now, pretty much the meta for ranked is more tankier surveillance cruisers. So I could see that this ship could potentially work, but with it being a light cruiser, it would have trouble fighting the other cruisers. It would have to use islands or its longer range firing to put in good work against them. If you are able to do that and successfully farm down your enemy, then you will do perfectly fine. I think this ship will do really good in that scenario. So in randoms, in ranked, I think it'll do fine. Brawls, it's definitely not going to do very good. The fact that, but wait, I'll take that back. In brawls, it potentially could do really good if it's a more open leveled brawl, because the fact this thing has such a high DPM, you're going to be melting targets so fast that you wouldn't have that much issue with melting them before they get a torpedo off. And you're throwing so many shells at the enemy that you're going to be able to destroy their torpedo tubes before they have a chance to really react with those torps. Now, there's a lot of islands to where they can sneak up on you with those torpedoes. Then yeah, they're going to win the fight and you're not going to be able to do very well. But if it's more open where you can use your hydro and your radar to your advantage over, say, like a torpedo cruiser or a torpedo destroyer, then you'll come out on top in those scenarios. Now, this thing is really going to shine in a smoke division. So pretty much if you have, say, like a Gearing or a Haragumo or any smoke destroyer or even a smoke cruiser, it doesn't really matter. If you have something that can smoke you up and spot for you, pretty much imagine if you're on a middle flank or a 1 or 10 line flank, right? You get your destroyer buddy to lay a smoke screen across the one, like the left side of the map or the right side, wherever the enemy's pushing into you, right? They lay a smoke screen for you and you just start farming. You start farming for days. You start farming battleships and cruisers alike. This thing having such a high DPM, you're going to absolutely melt all of those ships. And since it's their push flank, they have to push into you, right? So as long as your smoke is far enough back and you're able to keep just repeating that process over and over and over, so he keeps laying more smokes for you, you keep using the smoke to farm, and you keep going over and over and over again, you're going to easily get over 200k damage or even 300k matches super easily, or even 400k matches. I was able to get 300k matches easily in this ship. The only reason why I didn't have the footage for it was at the time I couldn't record it, but now that it's over, now I can talk about it now. I can talk about it now since the final state, but unfortunately I couldn't talk about it then, but now I can. But yeah, you can easily get 300k matches in this ship. It's an absolute farming machine. This thing is built for farming. It is built for anti-air. It is just overall a very strong ship, and I really enjoyed playing it and had a really good experience with it. Now again, it is a super ship, so what comes with super ships? Very high credit prices. It's going to be very expensive to run this ship with the service cost. But the thing about super ships is, even though they are pretty much credit sinks, that credit sink is you're pretty much paying for more commander XP, more free XP, and more ship XP. So these ships, the super ships, are designed to farm free XP and commander XP for your commanders and for your free XP wallets. So a lot of the times you'll see people playing super ships because they have hundreds of millions of credits just to burn, and they're trying to farm commander XP and free XP to be able to go through new lines and to be able to level up their commanders. And then after they're done playing the super ships, they'll go in operations or something and play a credit farming ship and just start farming credits. So for me nowadays, I see super ships as more of a investment for commander XP and free XP for the pretty much the wealthy credit owners of this game. While you spend your time farming commander XP and free XP with the super ships, and then you go back and you farm credits in your premium tier 8s in operations or in randoms or whatever game mode that you want to do, or you take your tier 9 premiums out and farm credits that way. It's your choice. It's either like what you want to do or not to do. It just depends in that regard. But funny enough, Jacksonville is near an area that I do live, and I actually love Jacksonville itself. There's also a destroyer there as well. I don't know how long it's been there, but if someone could let me know in the comments what destroyer it is, I need to try to visit at some point. I haven't had time, and I've been super busy, but at some point I would love to visit at some point. The Jacksonville area is pretty nice from what I've heard. There's not too much to do there, unfortunately. If you're trying to do stuff more in Florida, I definitely recommend Orlando, since that's where all of the good stuff is at. And Universal did just announce their new theme park that they're opening. They're opening a whole new theme park, so that's super cool. Super excited for that whenever that actually comes into fruition. So we'll see. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions or concerns, definitely let me know in the comments down below. I do appreciate you guys checking out these videos. I know that a few of my videos have been starting to do pretty well recently, so I do appreciate you guys commenting and liking and sharing those videos. It does mean a lot. After this channel got hacked and almost got deleted, the channel's been having pretty much a rough state, but thank you guys for still sticking around and being part of the community and being here. I do greatly appreciate it, and appreciate you guys as well. On the day of this video going out, so if you're watching this video on July 22nd, I will be playing this ship on stream on Twitch, so you can check it out there. I'll be pretty much playing it all day, and probably on the 23rd as well, so you guys can check it there on my Twitch. So yeah, you guys can check it out there while I play it. But thank you guys for watching, and you guys can enjoy the rest of this replay. I'm gonna let you guys enjoy it, and I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.